So here we are in a not so sunny pool, but it's mid-February, what can we expect? But behind us we've got the brand new Manhattan 55, and we're here today to take it on its first sea trials and really explain to you what the Manhattan 55 is all about. Let's go and give it a run. Okay, so here we are at the upper helm. We're just getting the line singled up and ready to go here. You can see we're outside of shipyard 4. I think we're all okay there. So we'll take it away. Now what's nice here, you've got bow and stern thruster. All the controls obviously fully electronic. So it makes it very, very simple. Nice one touch. You can see just a touch on the bow thruster. Very, very easy in and away from the dock. These controls are so light. I mean, they are literally fingertip touch. And what you'll notice as well, she's very gentle. I mean, we're into gear, there's no lurch. Very, very, very controllable. Which, you know, considering you've got a pair of 800 horsepower diesels there, I mean, it's just so smooth. I mean, the control is absolutely amazing. And you see how she's just pulled away from the dock there so nicely. Very, very easy to control, which, you know, I think for a boat of this size, it gives you real confidence. And from here, I mean, my visibility right to the bow, port and starboard, completely down this starboard side, very nice. And what works really well is you've got the hatch with the stairway. I can see right the way down through to the bathing platform. So for, you know, a mooring where you're coming alongside, exceptionally easy, particularly on the starboard side. But even if you were coming port side too, I've got good visibility to this point and very easy to step across and have a good look at what's going on. If I'm med mooring coming into a quayside, again, look, being able to look down through that hatch and see the bathing platform, see what's going on right at the stern as you're coming back in against that dock, works, you know, really, really well. So what we're going to do here, obviously we're in a slow speed zone, but again, one engine in gear, a bit of opposite helm on, just to hold her, and you can see you can control her quite nicely on one engine. So if you're doing a longer run through a slow speed section, you're not going in and out of gear and trying to control the speed all the time. You've got great control, one engine in gear, and easy control at the helm. Again, works exceptionally well, which for a boat of this size I think it's quite unusual. You know, you've got great response, really, really easy use of the system. So what we didn't talk about here, you've got bow and the optional stern thruster on this boat. They're both proportional control. So what does that mean? So it means when you're coming away from the dock or coming back against the wind, rather than having the thruster on or off, you can adjust the amount of thrust, which makes a huge difference. You know, I can give you a scenario coming alongside a quay wall or a dock pontoon. You've got a wind blowing you off whilst just sorting the line. So once you've positioned the boat alongside, the ability to put on a small amount of thrust just to help hold the boat against the dock whilst you get the lines finished off and fenders adjusted works exceptionally well. So great bonus, and not only having bow and stern, but the proportional control. So we talked about the controls themselves. You've got a single lever control here, so once we're up and going I'll show you how that works. But really what it means is once you're in gear with both engines, you can use one control to accelerate both engines up in a synchronization rather than using the two independents. You've got a low speed setting here, so if you are maneuvering in very tight spaces and you want the ability to really calm down the response and the controls, pushing that low speed drops the RPM down at tick over and gives you even more gentle control. So coming forward, we've got the trim tabs. Again, we'll go through that once we're running, but you'll find, you know, with any deep V hull, if you want to plane at that really slow speed, but the tabs down, but the trim tabs down, which brings the bow of the boat down, and she'll sit on the plane at low teens. So very, very comfortable, very nice, comfortable cruise speed at the low end. It might be, if you've got a very heavy wind, you can use the tabs then to equalize the boat port to starboard. But with a presence in the water, you'll find you'll need that a lot less than you would on a smaller sports style boat. Coming across the control, we've got the engine start and stop control, which is a repeat of what we have down below. And then we come to the engine controls themselves, which we'll scroll through as we go once we're up and going on the plane, but gives you engine RPM, gives you temperatures, oil pressures, fuel usage, so everything the user needs to know when you're doing a trip with the boat, straight at your fingertips, and independent for each engine. So you've got complete you know, independent view of each engine as you're running. Coming across the port side, autopilot control. So very, very simple to use, obviously tied to the main system screens here, but a simple push on the auto button there and the autopilot will take over the heading. Come back to standby, push back on standby. This is even useful if you're just doing a long straight run down through a channel. You know, hitting that auto just gives you that ability of steering the boat better than probably I can or anybody helming the boat can in a nice straight line set on a heading. So very useful being there, nice and easy to see, very nice and easy to control. Again, to the left of that, we've got all the individual controls for lights, anchor lights, control for the anchor itself, bilge pumps, and all of these are illuminated, the horn, so it gives you great positive push. So it's a real nice solid state push, and obviously at night it's illuminated so you can see what is on and what is off. Up to the upper side, wireless charger for your phone, so your phone will fit into that nice and easily. It expands, and then wireless charger. And not only that, but obviously it holds the phone nicely so that when you're running, you're not chasing it around the deck you know, once it's fallen down. So nice easy place to put it, and obviously the wireless charging. Then you come across to the two Simrad screens. Now each screen is multifunctional, so split screen between radar and plotter, general nav information, depth, speed, course over ground, and each screen is interchangeable, so you can run all the information independently, repeated, split screen. So very, you know, very easy to view what you want to do, and everybody will have a different idea on that. You know, when you're running long distance, you might want plotter and radar. Inside a harbour, you might want overlay of plotter with the radar overlaid over it. So very, very easy to give you different styles of information. All of those are touchscreens. You have got the touchscreen control. You then have the solid state buttons to the right hand side here as well. That's important, I find, because when you're running, sometimes using the touchscreen is quite inaccurate. So having the buttons here as well save that jumping around on the screen, finding the right position. And then right to the starboard side, we've got the Vhf radio, which again, being Simrad, is all integrated into the rest of the system to ensure, you know, safety wise, you've got the link to the positioning of the yacht. And that leads us right back to the helm. I mean, the most important part, the steering wheel. So it's fully adjustable, so adjusts up and down. One really cute feature, which, you know, is a great Sunseeker feature, is this self-centering badge. So no longer is the badge slightly off center when you're moving the wheel, it's always upright, which I think is a great thing to have. The helm position itself, you've got a good standing position, you've got a upright position if you want to have a really good view, or alternatively pull down the bolster and then you're sat back in more of a sports style seat. Really comfortable, but with still a great view going forward. Really, really works well. And what you do have on the helm, if you're in that seated position, you do have a wind deflector which simply pulls up, and it just gives that touch of wind deflection up over your head. So all in all, great helm position, great visibility, all the controls right at hand, makes it a very, very comfortable, really assured helm position for a boat of this size. So here we are, we're outside of the main channel now. let's really see what this Manhattan 55 can do. We've got a pair of Volvo D13 800s, 1600 horsepower, on straight shafts. Let's go and see what she can do. Off we go. So we're just at 1000 RPM, 9-10 knots. You can see very gently we'll take her up. So let's bring her up to 1400 RPM. Let's bring it up to 12 knots. Very, very comfortable, still nice running angle. Haven't got to use the tabs or anything like that. So coming up through now, we're at 1600 RPM, 1700, and you'll notice now we're at 16 knots. I mean, she's feeling nice. I mean, the angle's good. What I'm going to do, just at that speed, just to give you an idea, if I push the tabs down here, and we're sitting beautifully on the plane, very, very comfortable. 18 knots, 1700 RPM, so comfortable. And I mean, you can't see it today, there's not much wind, but with the current we've got, with the residual wind from yesterday, there's probably a 3/4 of a metre sort of gentle swell rolling in, so not flat. And we're just sat there beautifully still, very comfortable. I mean, you could do this for multiple hours without any problem at all. So let's carry on up. So take her to 1900, 1950 RPM. There we go. 21, just over 21 knots. We're probably burning at this point about 120, 130 litres an hour. Again, extremely comfortable. I mean, I'm not touching anything. We're not on autopilot as well. We're tracking dead true. But look at the response. I mean, on the helm, gently around. I mean, I can let go of the helm. Look at the just how responsive she is for 27 tons of boat doing 22 knots. I mean, absolutely amazing. I mean, and we're sat at quite a low speed as well, and she's just sitting on the plane, running so easily. Really, really nice. Let's now really see what she'll do. So, 2000, 2002. There we go. I'm bringing the tabs back up. So we're just over 2,300 RPM. Over 30 knots against the current, 31 knots. I mean, just stunning. 31.5 knots. Probably getting on at 220, 230 litres. But now let's try this helm. Look at this. So we're going to pull her around to port. One hand, no effort at all. I mean, she just turns fantastically well. Look at that. She arcs in like a sports boat. One finger, one hand, back the other way. Absolutely stunning. Look at that. Now, considering we're hard locked now, I mean, we're probably turning in a couple of boat lengths. We're still doing 24, 25 knots. Absolutely incredible handling for a boat of this size. Really stunning. Look at that for a turning circle. Still 22, 23. We'll gently bring her out. No effort at all on this. Look, I can just use one finger. Just stunning. I mean, for a boat 27 tons running at over 25 knots, just quite incredible really. Really does handle well. I'll bring her back down now to 1950, 2000 RPM. We're heading into the wind now, so we're getting some more noise, but then we just pull her back round to starboard. We take her head out of the wind. Still doing 26 knots. 2000 RPM. I mean, this is an all-day cruise speed. Just working exceptionally well. Really, really well. Very, very impressed. I mean, the combination, I think the weight, the power of these engines, you know, with this makes her handle really, really nicely. Not, you know, she just feels right, feels very balanced. You know, at any speed, whether you're at the 30 knots plus, here at 25, or even when we pull her back down to that slow cruise, I mean, she just sits there. I mean, you know, we're at 1850, 1860 RPM. I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of tab on just to hold her nice and steady. But look at that, 20 knots, 21 knots. I mean, 300 miles at this sort of speed would be great. I'll put the seat down, sit back down. You're underneath the screen now, so much better protection. Very, very comfortable, very impressive. And it's a real sort of Jekyll and Hyde, you know, you can be so comfortable, you're sort of brought into this illusion of a large, you know, flybridge cruiser, and then at the touch of those controls, you've got a sports boat. Just fantastic feeling, really, really, really well done. Great match of hull and engine, works really well. Right, so what we're going to try and do is just give you a bit of a demonstration of the gyro working as well. So I've turned a beam to the sea. We've got probably only about half a metre, 3/4 of a metre swell rolling through, but you can see now on the Sunseeker unit here, we're rolling through sort of 4 to 5 degrees, maybe a touch more. Let me just keep us rolling there, yep, 6, 7 degrees. I'm going to hit the activate button now. So counting down, 3, 4, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, we're down to 2 degrees, 1 degree, almost now 0 to 1 degree. I mean, and we're sat here, we're not at anchor, we're sat in the middle of the bay with a decent swell rolling in, and look at the difference, incredible difference that gyro makes. We've just come back up to the flybridge helm, very easy to take control, push one button here, got control of the boat, into gear, and let's give her a run back in. I mean, what's turned out to be a beautiful afternoon here, not a sunny Poole, but still a beautiful day in Poole Bay, and what a stunning boat to be on. So I hope you enjoyed the sea trial out there. You can see now we've headed back into the harbour. We're back alongside the shipyard here, or coming alongside. You can see we've got the wheel centred back at 0, just using the controls themselves to spin around. Again, the controls are just so light, so easy to use. It's a real joy on this, you know, for the size of boat. So we've got a bit of current pushing us down, a bit of wind pushing us down, so we're just turned into it, and we'll just now use that to let us come across the current and back in alongside the pontoon. Obviously, as we said before, we've got the great advantage of the bow and stern thruster. So once we get in there closer, we'll start using that to get us alongside. So again, you can see one ahead, one astern, just very nicely done on the controls. It's instant reaction as well. I think that's what you're seeing, which I think for this size of boat is quite unusual. Okay, so there we are, back safely alongside, all tied up. I hope you can see that she's just beautifully easy to control. And from this video, I really hope you take away that what a fantastic use of space, accommodation, performance, that ability to be comfort on board when you're staying in a bay with a stabilizer, everything you need from what is a fantastic family cruiser, but with the edge of a sports boat when you really want to have some fun. I hope you've enjoyed the sea trial, and we hope that you get in touch with your local Sunseeker dealer soon to inquire about this lovely Manhattan 55 or anything else in the Sunseeker range. Thank you.